You know that classic line from the Knack, "Good girls don't." It's a total earworm, right? A pop culture staple.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually stop and think about the cultural messaging all around us, it feels like we're constantly telling our daughters the exact opposite good girls do.
They do. They sit still, they listen, they don't make a fuss, and they absolutely do not fail.
It is the ultimate mixed message.
And, looking at the psychology, it's a trap, a real trap.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are opening up the Deep Dive Lab to tackle something that I think every parent, every person really, needs to hear. We've got a massive stack of research longitudinal studies, meta-analyses, and even some brand new 2026 data all about raising daughters.
And we're really taking aim at this whole concept of the good girl.
Exactly. We're looking at why raising a compliant daughter might actually be setting her up for anxiety and how we can pivot to raising a strong one.
And we're pulling from a lot of different places. Psychology journals, the Girls' Education Challenge reviews, and a fascinating new study on failure by Wang and colleagues from, just this year.
So the mission today is pretty simple. How do we raise girls who are resilient, assertive, and not just sanguineous?
And the answer, really, it starts with understanding something called good girl syndrome.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because good girl sounds like a compliment. I mean, if I go to a parent-teacher conference, that's what I want to hear, right? Your kid is good. Why is that a syndrome?
It sounds so positive on the surface, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But when you dig in, if you look at sources from clinical psychology, good girl syndrome is, it's a barrier to authentic confidence.
So it's just toxic people-pleasing.
It's essentially that, yes.
Mm.
It's this pervasive pressure to please other people, often at the expense of yourself. And the research suggests this gender bias, it starts incredibly early.
How early are we talking?
Like early childhood. Girls are often a bit more emotionally mature, maybe better behaved than boys at that age. So they take that please be good guidance from everyone.
Yeah.
And they take it very, very literally. You internalize it.
Right. And meanwhile, the boys are, running around breaking things, and everyone says boys will be boys, but the girls are getting gold stars for being quiet.
Exactly. And that evolves. It turns into a fear of conflict, a real inability to say no, and what we call toxic perfectionism.
And that's where you see the confidence gaps start to show up.
That's it. In early childhood, girls have really robust self-worth. But as they hit adolescence, middle to late teens, that confidence just plummets.
That is just the most heartbreaking thing. You see this vibrant, curious kid suddenly shrink.
Because the focus shifts.
Yeah.
It goes from family to peer comparison. And if a girl believes her value is tied to her performance and her approval,
What researchers call socially prescribed perfectionism, right?
you got it. And that makes her risk averse. She just stops trying new things because she is terrified of any negative feedback.
So she builds this false self, the good girl.
Precisely. She suppresses what she needs to avoid disappointing anyone. So the whole goal here is to figure out how to shift that narrative, to move from the good girl who is compliant to the strong girl who is authentic.
Okay, so if this is a result of pressure, let's talk about the parents' role. Because I feel like a lot of us swing between extremes. We either try to control everything so they succeed, or we just want to be their best friends so they don't feel any pressure.
And that takes us right to the Goldilocks of parenting styles. The research, especially from places like Talkspace and positive psychology, breaks it down into three main categories. You've got permissive, authoritarian, and authoritative.
Okay, so break those down for me. Permissive,
Permissive is high warmth, but very low structure.
the best friend parent.
Yes, exactly. It feels nice, but it's too soft. It doesn't have the structure that kids actually need to grow.
Right, the cool mom for Mean Girls. I'm not like a regular mom, I'm a cool mom.
That is the perfect example. Then you have the total opposite. Authoritarian.
That's high control.
High control, low warmth. This is the my way or the highway parent. It's all about obedience.
Which I'm guessing just breeds more of that good girl compliance we're trying to get away from.
It really does. It leads to low self-esteem because the child is basically motivated by fear. But then you have the sweet spot.
Yeah.
The Goldilocks zone.
Authoritative parenting.
Authoritative, not authoritarian. A really crucial distinction. Authoritative parenting is high warmth plus high expectations.
So you have boundaries, but also encouragement and communication. You're not an iron fist, but you're not a doormat either.
Exactly. And the evidence for this is just, it's overwhelming. It's the most consistent predictor of high self-esteem and resilience in daughters. And the reason it works is this concept called autonomy support.
Autonomy support, that sounds like a tech term, like, hello, IT, I'd like to download some autonomy, please.
It's simpler than that, but it's so profound. It just means treating your daughter as a subject with her own agency, not an object you're taking care of. You're not molding a statue. You're tending a garden.
You let them struggle a little bit.
You have to. You encourage them to solve problems on their own, but you're still there for guidance.
And that's so hard for parents. We just want to swoop in and fix it. Tie the shoes because we're late, finish the science project because it's messy.
Of course we do. But the data shows that daughters from these authoritative homes, they're more socially competent, less prone to anxiety because they learn self-regulation, not just obedience.
This all has to connect to how we talk to them, right? Because I feel like for years, the advice has been to just pump them full of praise. You're so smart. You're so pretty.
And here's where it gets really, really interesting, and maybe a bit counterintuitive.
Okay.
Telling a girl, you're so smart, might be one of the worst things you can do for her resilience.
Wait, what? Really? I feel like I say that 5 times a day.
I know.
Yeah.
It comes from all of Carol Dweck's research on mindsets. When you say you're smart, you're giving what's called person praise. You're praising a fixed trait.
Ah, okay. I see where this is going. So if I'm smart when I get an A, what am I when I get a C?
Exactly. You're dumb. It creates a fixed mindset. So if you struggle, it means you just aren't smart anymore. And these girls become terrified of challenges because a mistake could threaten their whole identity.
So they stop taking risks to protect that label.
They do. The alternative is process praise.
Okay.
You focus on the effort, the strategy. You worked really hard on that. Or, I really like the way you thought through that problem. That creates a growth mindset.
And this is where the power of yet comes in too. I've heard of this.
It fits perfectly. It's such a simple shift in language. Instead of, I can't do this, it's, I haven't mastered this yet. It just frames failure as temporary.
So let's talk about failure. Let's dive into that new research. The 2026 study by Wang and colleagues. This feels like the big update for us.
Yes, this is really cutting edge. The study's called Parental Coaching Strategies for Child Failure Resilience. And they looked at how parents react when their kid fails at something, like a math problem.
And they found there are right ways and wrong ways to handle that meltdown.
They found 3 main coaching styles. First, there's emotion coaching. This is where the parent validates the feeling, I can see you're frustrated, that's okay, and then encourages them to try again.
That sounds like the authoritative style. High warmth, but keep going.
It lines up perfectly. Then there's persistence strategies, which is just focused on keep going, try again. Both of those were linked to what's called mastery motivation, the kid's desire to conquer the challenge.
Okay, and the third style?
This is the one that's the trap. It's called permissive minimization. The kid fails, gets upset, and the parent jumps in with, it's okay. It doesn't matter, you're still great. Or they just ignore it completely to protect the kid's feelings.
But that sounds supportive, doesn't it? You're still a winner in my book.
It sounds it, but the study found it was linked to lower mastery pleasure. By minimizing the failure, you rob the child of the chance to process that negative emotion and actually overcome it. You're basically saying, this is so scary, we have to pretend it didn't happen.
Wow, so we have to let them sit in the suckiness of failing for a minute.
We do. And they found another fascinating predictor here. Parental grit.
The parent's own grit.
Yes, the parent's own level of grit and their own mindset about failure, whether they saw it as enhancing or debilitating, that predicted how they coached their kids.
So if I freak out when I burn dinner, I'm modeling that for my daughter.
In a nutshell, yes.
Yeah.
We have to model a failure is enhancing mindset.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. From the mental to the physical. Because you found some really compelling data on sports and movement.
This is so critical. We have a longitudinal assessment that looked at girls aged 9, 11, and 13. And the findings kind of flipped the script.
How so?
We usually think that confident girls are the ones who go out for sports. But the study found it's actually the other way around.
Wait, so the physical activity creates the confidence?
Physical activity predicts future self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yes. Specifically, being more active at ages 9 and 11 predicted higher self-esteem later on. And get this, the effect was strongest at age 11. And it was particularly beneficial for girls with a higher BMI.
That is huge, because those are often the exact girls who feel the most left out of sports or gym class.
Exactly. And the mechanism is something called physical self-efficacy. It changes their relationship with their body. It teaches a girl to trust what her body can do. Run, jump, score, rather than just judging how it looks.
Which is a battle we are constantly fighting against social media and everything else. I saw another study in our stack, I think by Forbes and colleagues, that focused specifically on mothers.
Yes, that one showed that You can't just talk to the girls about this.
Yeah.
You have to work with the mothers. Interventions that help mothers with their own body image, that help them reduce their own fat talk, standing in front of the mirror, criticizing yourself, that had a direct positive impact.
But it's not all on the moms, is it? We have to talk about the father factor.
Oh, absolutely not just on moms. Research from Liberty University shows that paternal warmth and involvement are massive predictors of a daughter's long-term self-esteem.
I think there's this old stereotype, right? That dads are just the enforcer, the guy polishing the shotgun on the porch when a date shows up.
Right, but the research suggests a different role is much more effective. Fathers who encourage risk-taking, who encourage autonomy, they help break that fragile female stereotype.
So when a father is nurturing and involved,
It sets a template. It shows his daughter how she should expect to be treated by men later in life. It predicts healthier romantic relationships and even higher career aspirations.
so dads, get in there, be warm, encourage her to climb the tree, and just listen.
That emotional availability is like a protective shield against all those confidence gaps we were talking about.
Okay, I want to zoom out for a second. We've hit on parenting, praise, failure, sports. How do we tie this all together? The Girls' Education Challenge Review had a framework for this.
They did, yeah. They call it the
Yeah.
ABC of learning, and it's a really great way to see how self-esteem actually translates into real-world success.
Okay, give me the ABCs.
So A is for attitudes.
Yeah.
That's motivation, aspiration, the beliefs you can learn.
Got it.
B is for behaviors. That's, raising your hand, showing up, participating. And C is for capability. That's the actual academic success, the skill mastery.
So self-esteem isn't just about feeling good.
No, not at all. Self-esteem is the engine. It's this soft middle layer that turns potential into an actual outcome. If you don't have the attitude, you won't show the behavior and you won't build the capability.
It's all connected. You can't just drill for the test if the attitude part is broken by toxic perfectionism.
Precisely. The goal is to build a system where the girl feels valued, which fuels the attitude, which drives the behavior, which then builds the capability.
Okay. Let's wrap this all up. We've covered a lot of ground here in the Deep Dive Lab today. If we want to raise strong girls, not just good girls, what are the big headlines?
I'd say 3 big takeaways. First, shift your style. Aim for that authoritative sweet spot. High warmth, high boundaries, and support their autonomy.
Don't fix everything for them. Takeaway 2, change the script.
Yes. Stop saying you're so smart. Start saying you work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Praise the process.
And embrace the failure. Use that emotion coaching. I know this is frustrating, but you haven't mastered it yet.
Exactly. And the third takeaway, move and connect.
Get them moving, especially in those preteen years. Focus on what their bodies can do. And for the parents,
Both moms and dads, be emotionally present. Dads, remember your warmth matters just as much as your protection.
I love that. It all feels so actionable. Instead of just worrying about the world, we can actually equip them to handle it.
It raises a really provocative question for every parent to think about. When you're guiding your daughter, ask yourself, are you raising her to be good,
Yeah.
compliant and convenient for others,
Or are you raising her to be strong?
capable of disappointing others to stay true to herself?
That's the question. Capable of disappointing others. That's a tough one to swallow, but I think you're right. That's where the real freedom is.
It is.
Thank you so much for joining us in the Deep Dive Lab today. If this resonated with you, or if you know a parent who's in the trenches with this right now, please share this deep dive with them.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next one.
We'll see you next time. Stay curious and stay strong.